What's up, guys? Pokémon here, and I got a video for you. This is one that I have to make because people just don't know. Like, I'm going to try to put this in perspective. So, set tight, hold on, check out our channel, like and subscribe. All right, now, what this is going to be is about PSA grading. Obviously, I do a ton of it. All right, that's just part of the slabs I have laying around. Now, what is grading? Why do people grade? Okay, for probably a slew of different reasons. Some people like to grade cards because they like to show that it's authenticated. They don't care on the grade necessarily, the 1 through 10. They just want it to be authenticated. They want to know they have a real card in their hand. That's why some people would prefer to buy a PSA 9, which is typically a raw card value, versus a 10, because a 10 is going to have multipliers, sometimes 2, 4, 5, maybe 10 times the value. Okay. So the raw card, the reason they'll buy it so it's in a PSA, like 9, maybe an 8 or a 7. It's because they know the card is real. It's authentic. It's been authenticated. Okay. Now, the other reason people grade is because there's grading plays to make. You can make a lot of money off graded cards. I have thousands of dollars in graded cards, and I don't plan on doing anything with them. Okay. Graded cards can be great trade bait, but graded cards versus sealed, definitely the sealed seems to have that bigger upside. The graded cards can do well, but graded cards can go through a lot of peaks and valleys. The sealed stuff typically just starts going and it keeps going. Now, we're going to talk about PSA. Why PSA? Why not some of the other ones? Well, because PSA just did something the other day. On February 10th, they increased their prices. Let's check it out. Now, here's PSA's official website. I'm a member. I'm a silver member. It's like $100 a year or something. You're thinking, why would you pay for that? I still pay for GameStop Pro membership. I'm that big of an idiot. Okay. Now, here's the deal. Bulk submissions, $24.99. This was on February 9th, $21.99. Everything went up roughly $5. But you're going to notice one other thing. The value bulk right here is a maxed $500 value card. You're thinking, wait a second, wasn't the $21.99, wasn't that a $200 max value? Yeah, it was. Okay. The reason they've increased this, and they did this before, like this isn't something new. If you're shocked by this with PSA, then you haven't been around the hobby long enough, because they've done this before. Okay. So when I got into the hobby, all right, started grading cards, making graded card plays, this would have been in 2020. Okay. My first graded submission I ever did, I believe, was in, gosh, I want to say I did a graded card submission in March of 2021. Yep, I 100% know that's when it was. So in March of 2021, I did a graded card submission. It was $10 a card. Okay. I sent in about 60 cards. And at $10 a card, and I see all these prices flying off the shelves on eBay and all these other things, I'm like, well, this is the no brainer. Like, I can send in these cards, grade them as a 10, because everything's going to be a 10. When you first start grading, you think everything's going to be a 10. It's not. It's not going to be a 10. I don't even know how else to tell you that. It's not going to be a 10. Now, when I started grading, the card set that just came out was Vivid Voltage. That came out in November of 2020. So in 2021 in March, I had all these amazing rares: the Celebi, the Rayquaza, Zamazenta, Zacian, Raikou. Amazing rares. These things were selling for $600 in a PSA 10. The Chunkachu, $1,000 card. So I'm like, well, this is crazy. Like, why wouldn't I do this? $10 a card. Fill out my submission form. Pretty easy to do. PSA really is a pretty good website. The app works awesome. Send it in. And they said, okay, it's going to be like a 90 to 120 day turnaround time. We are really backlogged right now with PSA. So this is in March of 2021. I get those cards back. I don't get them back in March of 2022. I don't even get them back in 2022. I get these back like in February, January of 23. It took forever. It was an 18 to 24-month hold time they had on. They had too many cards. People are sending in everything. Like right here, someone, it'd be like this right here. Okay. Gengar, Halloween one. Someone's like, done. Like, I saw one of those sell on eBay for about $900. I better send all mine in. It's not how grading works, guys. Like, I've acquired a pretty keen eye for this. With grading, I can tell the centering right up off the bat. The one thing that I don't do so well on sometimes is the printer lines if they're not really, really solid, or sometimes scratches on some of the vintage cards. I have a little bit more of a keen eye for the centering. Okay. Now, 24.99. This is what it's going to cost. So if you would have sent these in on February 9th, you would have been 21.99. 32.99 here. Now here's the one, the walkthrough service. Maximum value of $10,000, 7 business days. When I first started grading back in 2020, 2021, walkthrough was $4.99, I think. And it was walkthrough. It literally, if you went to the PSA place and brought your card and showed it to them, they would have it graded within you like 2 to 3 hours. So walkthrough service is different now, 7 business days. Now, a lot of people say, well, Rhett, why are you bitching? Well, 95 business day turnaround on that. If you believe you're going to get your cards back in 95 days, then I have an ocean to sell you in the middle of Canada, because there is no way, you guys, they're so backlogged right now. There is no way this is going to happen. Now, PSA announces this. They say, hey, we're going to increase this, from $21.99, 27 to 30. It's all $5 increments. And then value plus, okay, this is the one right here. $44 to $50, 49 to 49.99. Okay, this is a 40 to 45 day business time turnaround. Regular is still looking at 20 to 25 days. This will not happen. And the problem is if people start saying, hey, I'm going to beat the system and I'm going to send them in for those, it's going to backlog those. Okay, it's I don't even know how else to better explain it. It is insane if you're sending stuff into PSA right now and you think you're going to get it back in the next 6 months. Okay. I have a pile. All right. I have these right here. I'm getting ready to submit. I mean, I got some crazy ones in here. I mean, I got some absolute fire. So let's look at them. I got some nice One Piece. Okay. Got the old Meowth. What else we got here? A couple Kingdra EXs. Mega Dragonite right there. I got a Mega Steelix. I mean, I got some crazy cards in here, guys. Got some Lorcana. Okay. I mean, I have absolute fire in this thing. I'm like, gosh, you know what? I want to send this in to get stuff taken care of and sold, but, how long is it going to take? Well, here's the thing. If I send this stuff in today, I might as well be holding my breath to hopefully get it back by Christmas. Okay. Now, what does that do? There's a couple things you got to think about. What are the cards worth right now? Okay. Right now, what are they worth? Because they're not worth that in 6 months. The odds are they're going to be worth less. Okay. And especially these new sets. All right. Let's take a look at the new sets. All right. Now, I've been tracking this. Okay. This right here, I've not refreshed since last night. Charizard Y. Buy it now. Pikachu. 3 days, 22 hours left. I haven't refreshed it yet. 1,600. Gengar, 33.25, 34.25. Zoric is never going to sell at 1,400. This person might as well light up a big one and smoke it, because it's not going to happen. This one right here, it's an Ace 10. I don't know when people will learn. And I'll talk about it, guys. I had people email me about the grading. I had 2 different people email me about grading. I had one person text me about grading. Then I had someone comment on a video about grading, all within like 3 days. I'm telling you, I don't know everything there's about grading, but I've graded a lot of stuff. I've tried other services. I've bought other slabs. PSA is where it's at. It's unfortunate. It sucks. That's just what it is. Attack rare right here, 3,500. Ooh, there's no way that happens. Like, I'm just telling you, that's crazy. This one right here surprised me though. Okay, this Mewtwo special illustration from Ascended Heroes at 1450. I didn't think this would break $1,000 because it was stuck at 600 for a while. Now, let's check out the magic of eBay. 3 days, 22 hours left. Cha-ching, let's see what we got. 3 days, 2 hours left. 1650. 3,700. This guy said, screw it. We're going to 1,000. 790 for this one, still same. 39.25 for this one. This one ends in 3 days, 2 hours. This Ace 10 card is not going anywhere, guys. And we have right here, we have right there, the Mewtwo at 1450 went up a little bit. This Gengar attack is not going to do anything, okay? It's going to be interesting to see where these go. So I'm going to keep this tab open. But here, that is grading. That is why people grade. Now, when you send these cards in right now, you're not sending them in for $25. This is not the regular This is not the value. When they send them in, they're sending these in for Super Express. Okay, $5,000 value, $300 a card. They're sending those in because they want the premium PSA 10 right off the bat. And it does have a premium. Okay, that's why you only see that many cards that are up there right now being graded. A lot of people don't even choose to grade because they don't want to mess with it. I wanted to grade all my stuff, but it's so expensive now. I'm just going to wait. Okay, now let's check out PSA. Well, what is PSA? Well, PSA is owned by good old Collectors Universe. Used to be. Okay. The guy that started it is in 1991, David G. Hall. Now you're probably thinking to yourself, well, I want a slice of this. I want to be a little bit of PSA. Okay. A PSA of PSA. Tough. You can't. It's a privately traded company. You can't be part of it. Okay. You're thinking, that's crazy. Like, so they dictate the prices? Well, I wouldn't say they dictate the prices, but they sure as hell set them. And they sure as hell set the market. Okay. PSA is the standard. It is what it is. Okay. Now you're thinking, like, well, what's PSA do? Well, PSA just does a little bit of this 19.26 million cards in 2025. That's a million. 19.26. 72% of the entire industry. Now, if this was too big to fail, let's just put this in reference to like BlackRock or something. Do you think the government would step in? No, they wouldn't do that. Why would the government step in? This isn't an industry that matters. Well, 19.26 million cards, that's a lot of money. That's a ton of money. In fact, that's billions of dollars in slabs. Now you're thinking, well, the other companies, they got to be helping out. They got to do something, right? Well, good thing. PSA acquired Beckett. Now, when we look at Beckett, okay, Beckett does about a million cards or so, 824,000 what they had in 2025. And you're thinking, like, well, that's nothing. That's potato chips. It is. That is so small compared to Beckett. Or not Beckett, but PSA. But here's the thing look at it. Tag 440,000, PSA 19.26, CGC 4.92, SCG 1.42, Beckett at 824,000. Which remember, Beckett was acquired by PSA. They're just not going to do anything to change it, but they're the same. So that's about 3% of the overall grading. So 75% of the market is controlled by one company. Okay, that's what we call monopolization. It's a private entity that controls all the cash flow of a market. That's monopolizing. Okay, that's what they did. When Time Warner and another company tried to merge on like TV or phone or something, government's like, nope, can't do that. You can't monopolize, guys. That's illegal to do. Not this. Okay. Now I know what you're thinking. Like, well, Beckett, $824,000 or 824,000 submissions. That's a lot. That's a ton compared to their 2024 numbers. They did roughly, let's see, their per month average 2024. I think they did, gosh, 600,000 or something. It was like not even close to what it is this year. Okay. Now you want to think about PSA. You're like, well, what's PSA doing? PSA is doing 90,000 cards per day globally, all sports and stuff. TCG sports, whatever it may be, 90,000 cards every freaking day, 5 days a week, 12 months out of the year. Hell, they might work on Saturdays. I don't know. Now, let's just do some math because I don't think you still understand, guys. I don't think you still got it grasped. How crazy PSA is, the money conglomerate this thing is. Okay, now let's check it out. You know what? Let's pull up a calculator. All right, we're going to pull up a calculator on here. I got it over here for some reason. Hopefully I can move it. Check it out. I don't want all that fancy stuff. I'm a scientist, but I don't need all that fancy stuff. Now, let's just do this for fun. Let's take 90,000 of these. All right, and we're going to take 5 days a week. Okay, and let's take 50 weeks out of the year because they get some vacation maybe. So 50, that's 200 or 22 million. I mean, I can't even tell the numbers. 22,500,000 cards. Now they said they graded roughly 19 million and some change. So we're just going to say 20 million. Okay. Let's just make it nice and easy. So 20 million. Okay. 20 million cards. That's how many they graded. And let's say that they take a minute to grade each card. Now, there has been speculation. People have come out that have worked for PSA and said they look at each card roughly 20 to 30 seconds each. Okay. We're going to say 1 minute. Okay. 1 minute. So let's say they look at a card 1 minute. That means there's 60 of them. They're going to do in an hour. So I got 60 of these. I'm working 8 hours a day. That's 480 per day per worker. Okay. Now they are making 90,000 of these. And I'm going to divide that by the 480. That's what one worker should be doing per day. That means they house about 190 people per day, every day, looking at these cards. 190 employees. Okay. Let's just make it 200. Okay. We'll make it an even 200. So let's say PSA's got 200 employees that are grading cards, sitting there just like looking at these. You know, there's like, whew, slabs, awesome. I'm awesome. They're looking at these things, judging all of us. They had a bad day, maybe. Maybe their husband or wife got mad at them. Maybe they kicked a dog. Maybe they spilled their coffee on the way to work. That's not going to affect your grade because they're happy people when they get to work. Nothing outside of work would ever affect your job. That's crazy. Now, 200 workers. They're going to work 8 hours a day. That's 1,600 working hours they're paying those guys. And let's say PSA is like, you guys are awesome. Let's just say that they pay them $50 an hour. There's no way they are. That means every day, they are doing roughly $80,000 in pay for their employees. And you're like, well, they got materials. Well, do you think one of these things right here, they cost $1? Let's say they cost $1. Okay. So let's add $1 to each slab. That's 90,000. That's $170,000 a day. Let's say they have electricity, water, all this other stuff. Let's just say it's $200,000 per day. Okay. $200,000. That's per day, guys. That's what they're doing per day. That's what they have to spend. That's their expenses. How can they be making money? Well, let's see. They do 90,000 slabs a day. And let's say they all do them at the $25. Oh, that's 2.25 million. Well, let's take out expenses. They're $200,000 a day. Oh, they're only making about $2 million per day at PSA. $2 million. It's insane. It's so crazy. And let's take that times 5 days a week, times 50 weeks in the year, $500 million. That's what PSA is bringing in. $500 million. They build a new facility. They have way bigger space right now they're doing for grading, and they still have human beings grading this stuff. Okay. Now, you're probably thinking, these numbers, they got to be made up. Well, they're not. If you go to gemray.com, yesterday PSA graded 100,000 cards. CGC did 21.5, Beckett 9.5, Tag 1.7, SGC 0.7. 700 cards is all they did. And you're thinking, well, Tag's on the uprise. I'm going to tell you, that's absolute bullshit. Tag is screwed. Tag and Ace 10 are going nowhere, guys. I've watched it for the last 6 years. HGA grading. Okay, these came out, they were computerized grading, it was the top of the line stuff. It's what everybody wanted to do. It's gone. Tag will be gone. Ace 10 will be gone. It sounds great. Everybody thinks these slabs are going to matter. They're not, guys. A PSA 10 versus a CGC 10 doesn't mean shit. A Beckett Black Label, that does mean a lot. But a Beckett Black Label, for every 20 Beckett 10s, one of those might reach a Black Label. It is like of the Beckett 10s, it's probably roughly 15 to 20% that actually make it to a Black Label. Now, if I were to cross over PSA to Beckett to get a Black Label, okay, and you're thinking, well, didn't Jake Paul do that? He did that with a first edition Charizard. He crossed it over. I watched it in the living room. He was with that guy, the Pokemon King or whatever he is, and he bought that Charizard from him that was a PSA 10, and he crossed it over, and it's a Beckett Black Label now. Yeah, it is. Just like his Illustrator Pikachu's a 10. These things can be manipulated, guys. I don't know how else better to tell you. Like, that is just the way it is. And you're probably thinking, well, yeah, I'm not going to go through PSA. Well, that's dumb because PSA is the only way to do it. If you're looking to make money and plays on your investments for your cards, PSA is the only way to do it. And if you're thinking, you know what, it doesn't matter to me, these are my collection, I want to keep them. You're not grading cards typically for your own collection, you're grading them for an investment through the long haul. Okay. PSA is the only way to do it, guys. Now, yesterday, PSA grading trends. Okay. The day before was 85,000. So on the 11th or whatever it was, 85,000. Now you're thinking like, well, this has to be all sports cards. No, you guys, here's the chart of all the grading. Right here is TCG cards, 310,000. Then you have baseball cards at 62, basketball at 43, football at 36. TCG takes up almost 75% of the grading every day. TCG is all the grading is, and it's mostly Pokemon, guys. I If you're going to grade, you got to go through PSA. Your hands are quite literally tied to it, but that's just the way it is. Okay. And I wish there was something else I could tell you because I love grading cards. I think it's awesome, but PSA is not there to like grade your cards the best. They're there to probably somewhat manipulate a market, allegedly, because they really can. If you've ever had the experience where you've sent in cards and you sent in bulk submission, I did it with Misty's Cedra. It's a pre-release card from Jungle, I believe, or Fossil. I sent in 20 of them, all pristine. These things were straight from the wrappers. They were awesome. I sent in 20 of them, 110, 17 nines, 2 eights. Unbelievable. Like there's no way there's only 110 out of those. And I looked over these cards like with a fine tooth. So if you're sending cards in, guys, a couple things I'd tell you. If you're gonna send cards in, make sure just to look at them, check them over, and make sure. Everybody wants to buy these cards right now. Okay, the Mew from Celebrations, because there's a huge grading play. You can buy the card for $2. They sell for like $800 in a PSA 10. Super tough to grade. Celebrations hollows were terrible. They scratched really easy. So if you're looking to grade, remember, check your cards over wisely. Don't send in a huge bulk submission of the same cards that are multiple in there. I would send in multiple submissions with, if you have 20 of one card, I'd send in, five, 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 and five or whatever. The other thing is too, is just make sure you send them in right. Make sure you have tracking on it. People do rip into PSA orders when they're getting sent there and they take them. The other thing is too, the app does a good job of tracking. The problem is though, is when you send your cards and they arrive at the PSA facility, they're not checked in yet. They could sit there for a month before they actually check them in, and that doesn't mean anything. That just means they scan them. When they open it up, they scan your sheet and they say, "Hey, this submission's here." It could be months before they look at them. Okay. Once grading starts on your PSA submission, which is going to take a long time, but once it does it, it usually works pretty fast. They go really quick through it and then they label them and they seal them up. They do the quality check 1 and 2 on them and then they send them back to you. If it was me, I don't necessarily know that I'd grade through GameStop, and I have nothing against people that have done it, and I have friends that have done it, but I don't trust GameStop enough. I just don't trust that if I give them my card, that's the card that they're going to send in. There's no verification or proof of that. If I were to able to put it, like when I go to GameStop and they put it into a one touch and then they put a seal on it where you sign the seal so it's not broken, then I'd probably be okay with it. But if I hand them a card, so like, if I have a chase card, let's say the Mega Dragonite from Ascended Heroes, and I give it to them, well, there's nothing to say that they don't have the same card possibly and they switch it out or it gets switched out along the way. I don't know what to tell you guys. It's all alleged stuff. It could happen. That's just me thinking about it. If you're going to grade two, I mean, PSA is definitely the way to go. Uh, if you have cards you want to cross them over all the time, it's not always there. CGC nines do not equal a PSA 9, and CGC 10s do not equal a PSA 10. So that's kind of what my thing is, guys. PSA, I'm always going to grade with them. I know this is a long video. It's way longer than I wanted, but I've had so many people ask me. They're like, "Hey, Rhett, PSA, why do you grade? Like, look at the money I could be making here on stuff." Yeah, there is a lot of money to make there on flips. You'll see a lot of people do a PSA flips all the time. But right now, the money is actually finding the PSA cards already on eBay. And the way I would do it is I would find what cards you want to buy, and I would go to newly listed. And usually they'll have a buy it now. You'll be able to find people that just listed them. And if they list them at a really fair price, it's going to get sold right away. Buy those, mark them up about 15%. Okay. You can sell them then at a 5% markup or whatever, because if some you take offers and make 5 to 10% on every product you do. Okay. If you do that enough times, you'll eventually flip enough money where you can start buying some of these slabs and doing it in bulk. But that's what I got, guys. Remember, Pokepasoda, like and subscribe. Let us know what you think about PSA. And I just appreciate you guys. Thanks for watching the channel. It means the world to me. I've met a lot of cool friends here. And if you get a chance, guys, Pokey Hobbs, he reached out to me and I've reached out to him. And, check out his channel. It's pretty awesome. I'll put the link below. So take her easy, guys. Remember, catch them all.